Hi, folks. Thanks a lot for joining us today. We will,
Hello, sir.
yeah, hi. So we will start the session and just like wait for 2 minutes for that the other folk also join. Meanwhile, let me just start with giving a bit of introduction. So I'm Digvijay, working as a program manager in Antwerp. So if you don't know much about the Antwerp platform, so we are a social learning platform. What does that translate into that? We sort of bridging the gap between the knowledge or the professional skilling and the industry, that gap that exists. We are trying to bridge that by the help of the professionals. So into that endeavor, what we have previously done is invited a lot of professionals to join our platform to share their knowledge, and which are like around 3,000 plus experts have created videos which are available live on our Antwerp platform onto various subjects. And on top of that, right now we are also having these premium offerings, which include topics such as cybersecurity bootcamp, digital marketing bootcamp, and here this data engineering bootcamps and all. So onto those series only, we are having this workshop or this AMA session with Shashank, who is a data engineer at Amazon, and he will be answering you some of your questions regarding the career into the data engineering field, how is it different than other particular career options that you might have, how to transition, what are the expectations that you might be having, and what are all the queries that are there. So I think, Shashank, are you ready? You can start it.
Yep, Digvijay, all set.
Okay, so Bindu, can you just get to the introduction slide? Right. So let me just give you a brief introduction of Shashank here. So he will be driving this session today. He is has been working in the data engineering field himself for past 4 years, and have been worked in companies like McKinsey, Paytm, and Opera Solutions. He have a very good grasp of working in domains such as e-commerce, finance, fintech, banking, pharma, retail, etc., and comes with a really good expertise into this big data ecosystem, the tools, technologies like Hadoop, Hive, Kafka, and Kibana, etc. And as previously, he have also transitioned from software engineer's role, so his grasp on the programming side is also really good. Apart from all these things, he is also a very active member of, he have a YouTube channel where he shared his own experience related to this field and help the younger folks to break into this career. So yeah, so apart from the professional career where he's helping the industry, he's also helping and giving back to the community and open source learning that we have also. Everybody learn through the internet right now, and it's because of people like Shashank who are sharing their knowledge. So right now, Shashank, we will be giving the control of presenting screen to you, and you can start with the session.
Sure. So Digvijay, how we are driving this session?
Yeah, so we can do a little bit of presentation, and meanwhile, the folks who have joined, please feel free to ask your questions also. In between, we will take some questions and then also drive through the presentation and whatever the material we have.
If you have a control over the PPT, Digvijay, you can just proceed. You can just like we can do it like a AMA session. You can just start with the questions, whatever you have. I can just start explaining.
Right. So, Bindu, can you start presenting the screen and go to our first slide? And on top of that, we will start taking people's questions. All right. So The first question, so I'm starting this thing. So, Shashank, can you tell us, folks here, just to get an idea, we are also launching one poll in the beginning.
Mhm.
So, I'm launching this poll where people who have joined, I would please request you to just so that we have an idea of what kind of audience we have today.
Yeah.
Please, just let us know your responses. So we are just asking them what are the current role that they have. So
Mhm.
current, are they like software engineer, ETL developer, analyst, or what is their current profile looks like?
Okay. Mostly freshers from the CSIT background. Then the second highest other profiles. Then we have software engineers. We have ETL developers, data analyst. All right.
Okay. Okay, I guess most of the folks have,
Yeah.
80% of the folks have voted. Uh, so, yeah. So this is the current demographic looks of the people who have joined today. So Shashank, this can be, we can start from there. So
Mhm.
people who are coming from different backgrounds, let's say software engineer, ETL developer, analyst, or complete freshers. Like most of the people are fresher or are in from other domain, non-IT domain, you can say.
Yeah.
So how should they plan their career? What is data engineering mean for them?
Mhm. All right. Yeah. So, first of all, welcome everybody. Shashank this side. So, talking about myself, definitely I'm working as a data engineer at Amazon, and it's been almost 4 years for me. So, talking about the roles and responsibilities of a data engineer, I know there is a lot of noise in the market about the different job profiles in the data domain. uh, like to target good companies or to target something as a career path, right? First and very important thing is to understand the role and responsibilities clearly. Okay. So if I talk about the data engineering part, what data engineering is, so first thing is definitely it is related to the like big data domain. Okay. You will be working around the data. But in a technical definition, if you want to know what is data engineering, then uh, let's say you are having the raw data, and by any mediums, right, you are trying to process this on the fly using some uh, business logics. You are applying those business logic on top of the raw data, and then making or transforming it into something meaningful and then delivering it to the downstream system. That is a very very high level understanding about uh, the data engineering. Okay. And if I want to explain it with a very very basic example, so let's say you are an Amazon e-commerce platform. Okay. On daily basis, millions of transactions are happening on your platform, and those uh, and those transactions will get stored in the databases, or it can be stored at any source location, right? It could be anything. It is your MySQL database, transactional database, NoSQL database, distributed file system, right? Source can be anything. So nowadays the big data is basically where data is growing very very rapidly. It is really fast. Its growth is really fast, right? Let's say today the size of data is 1 TB at your end. On next week it can grow till like 5 TB and 10 TB. So now let's say in your organization, a business teams come to you that hey, we have this raw data, we are coming from a payments team. Okay. And what we want from you, that can you please bring that raw data which is related to sales, order, purchase and payments of different products into the internal systems. And these are the business logic, right? These are the aggregations we want you to perform. And basically please transform this raw data according to our needs, so that we can create some meaningful dashboards, or we can pull something meaningful information to or for the data representation. And that data representation can be done for the your leadership, it can be done for your customers, for your clients, for your internal teams, your end customer can be anything. So being a data engineer, we used to work as a frontliner in an organization. If they are working on a big data solution, they are big data solution basically where we are trying to take some data driven business decisions. Okay, so this is the about the big data solution. So we work as a frontliner. Those business teams, right, or those downstream systems will come to us, they will request that what they need from the source end. And as a data engineer, we will try to create the scalable and optimized data pipelines. The different components I was talking about, right? The source data, raw data, in between processing, on the fly processing, applying transformation, and then dumping it into the downstream system. So this is basically a procedure of creating data pipelines. It's a complete flow, right? It is being called as the ETL processing as well. So being a data engineer, there are very, very similar profile to this one as well. This actually, this processing part, let's say ETL developer. And so being a data engineer, what the main difference is, we need to bring, we need to create the scalable and optimize data pipelines. Okay. And those data pipelines, scalability means, let's say you created your pipeline, and it shouldn't break in between. It shouldn't break if the scale of data is growing. Let's say you created your solution in such a way, today it handled 1 TB of data, but next day, or let's say after a week, if 10 TB of data is coming as a raw data, your pipeline shouldn't get failed. Okay, so you need to design, or you need to design your pipeline in such a way so that it is scalable. Second one is the second one is basically, you can say, the optimization part. Okay, so big data processing is always related to the distributed computation part, right? And distributed computation always runs on a distributed environment. Like you need external commodity hardwares so that you can process your heavy amount of data on a smaller chunks, and on that distributed environment they will be aggregated together to deliver the final result. Okay, so writing your job in such a way so that it is consuming less number of resources with proper execution runtime, right? It shouldn't be like that you created your job like with any random configuration, or without doing any research, and it is taking like 24 hours and 25 hours to get completed. Okay, so are they able to, okay, are you guys able to hear me?
Yeah, it's fine. It's fine.
In the chat, okay, in the chat box I saw people saying the background noise actually.
No, sir. Voice is very clear.
Okay, okay. Yeah, so this is the thing about the, I mean, actual part of data engineering, right? On a high level, what we used to do from like starting from the source raw data, and then in between applying those business logics. So business logic, what does it mean? I can clarify with a simple example. So let's say the business team asked you that in our downstream system, or as a final result, what we actually want the aggregate, let's say for a particular day, customer XYZ, how many purchases he has done, or what or how much amount he has spent on our products, right? So there is a very, very simple aggregation here, right? You will be picking the data, raw data from the source, and you will just do a simple group by on customer and just take a sum of the purchased amount, right? So this is the one very simple example. There could be tons of complex business logics, right, in order to deliver the information, right, the end or clean information to the business. So overall, I mean, I definitely don't want to make it more complex, that there are other aspects related to the data engineering, and why data engineering is different from other profiles in the big data domain. For an example, ETL developer, BI developer, and all. So majorly we used to work with the frameworks, and frameworks where we need to write the custom things, right? There are definitely some frameworks available to do the normal ETL part, right? Making a connection to source and then apply some column mappings and then dump the data in downstream system. But here, being a data engineer, we need some freedom, right? We need to write the scalable and optimized solution. And these frameworks sometimes have definitely the limitations, and we cannot limit ourselves, right? So that's why as a data engineer, you have to be technically very good. You should have a good understanding about the system designing the scalable pipelines. You should have a good understanding about the cloud infrastructure part, and good understanding of programming, data structures, algorithm, right? So you will be a combined package. So that's why data engineering profile is much more closer to the software engineering profile as well.
Yeah. So some of the question that we are getting in chat, Shank, is about, like, let's say somebody is working as a software engineer for quite some time, like 5 years, 6 years, or 8, 9 years. So, and thinking of moving data engineering now. So does this make sense for them? And if it's feasible for them, how should they go about it?
Okay. Again. Nearly going to complete 4. Is it question this from Nilay Barwe, right? Is it possible to change the domain to data engineering provided I learn the concepts well? I mean, after spending some X amount of years with different profile, is it?
Yeah, so I think publicly one person have asked, so Tarun have asked publicly, Abhishek have directly texted here. So yeah, a couple of people have this question. Ashwarya also have the same question of, can we become a data engineer from software engineer or back and
Yes,
forth?
yes, definitely. We can. So see, obviously to just take this transition, or to make a move into a different profile, definitely it won't be very straightforward, right? Obviously it will be challenging, but let's say you are I mean, in you are, at least for the people who are having around 5 years of experience in any domain, for them it will be easy. It will be, I mean, not it won't be that much challenging for them. But let's say if you are 9-10 years of experience, then you are planning to take a move, then it will be a bit difficult and way more challenging for you. Okay, so folks who have having like less than an equals to 5 years of experience, you should definitely focus on the important skill sets of the data engineering. Even that's how, like, I started my career as a software engineering in my first company, which was basically a service based firm. So how actually I got to know about data engineering, what I did to transition into this domain. So in my first company, time to time I used to have a discussion with different folks who are working on the big data projects, right? So that was the first time when I was introduced to this big data domain. And those words, right, they were talking about distributed computation, terabytes of data, petabytes of data, distributed storage, some cool frameworks, right, and some cool projects. So those words looked really fascinating to me, and it caught my attention. And from that point onwards, I started doing the self exploration part. So see what happens. Let's say you want to take a move into a different job profile. You shouldn't do it blindly. Okay, let's say someone else is working for that particular profile, or someone else asked you that, hey Shashank, see, I'm working as a data scientist, and it is very demanding. You should also look for it. So see, you won't be jumping on it directly. what you should actually do first, do the self exploration part. Okay, I mean, it should definitely matches, it should matches with your interest. For me, why data engineering matches with my interest, because I was someone who was really close to the programming part and the DSA part. So I always wanted a kind of profile where uh, like I am closely working with these things. uh, I didn't want to just get away from those interesting parts of programming DSA things, right? So that was the thing for me. I explored data engineering profile and what basic skill sets I need. I started learning things from the YouTube and different blogs, different good websites, right? I didn't just focus on random things. I was following a very straight roadmap. Like I prepared that roadmap by my own, like collecting different points, and what all basic tech tool frameworks I should know, how much I need to focus on programming, how much I need to focus on designing, right? So these things I focused on. I got a good grip on basic skill sets, and after that, then I was looking for opportunities as a pure data engineer. Then like first time I started working as a pure data engineer with the Paytm. So that was my first transition from the software engineer to data engineering. So the again, most important thing is to have the right skill set, which will definitely help you to land into that particular job profile. And apart from those skill sets, understanding of some industrial projects would be also very important, right? Because when they will shortlist you for the interviews, they would expect that whether you have some sort of understanding about the industrial projects which are related to big data or the data engineering domain. Or let's say by any chance you didn't get that opportunity, then you shouldn't only focus on the theoretical part and the theoretical aspects of different tech tool frameworks. You should follow this thing like learning by doing kind of stuff. Whatever you are learning, try to build some dummy projects around that, right? Take some problem or do some research that what are the different things you can build. Let's say you are a data engineer, what are the basic projects you can do. And even you can start reading the engineering blogs of different companies, right? Every company has its own engineering blog, like Uber, Airbnb, Netflix. They keep on putting different statements, and they keep on releasing their product design or architecture design on their engineering blogs, right? So you can go through with them, understand it, and just try to mimic it. I'm not saying that you can implement the entire thing in a single go, but at least if you are able to implement some part of it, you can definitely explain it in the interview. So that's how you can slowly and gradually take a move into this data engineering domain. If you are from a different background and you are from a different profile, then don't think that it is going to happen overnight, or let's say you took a course of 10-15 days and after that quickly you will be able to take a move into XYZ profile. No, you need to spend time, have some patience, and just work on these skill sets.
Right. Thanks, John, for that. Also, some of the folks have questions related to a difference between these profiles of analyst or data scientist or data engineer.
Mhm.
And so as so, some of these skills also overlap with
Yeah.
what a software engineer does. Can you
Mhm.
try to explain them what is the key differences they can expect into this?
Yeah, so see, that is also an important question. So for the software engineering, see, software engineering, you can say, mm, it is an umbrella, right? And under that, these profiles like data engineering, and if you talk about other profiles, let's say backend developer, full stack developer, so these lies or resides under this big umbrella of the software engineering. Okay, so that's why at least some of the skill sets will be matching with the software engineering. Let's say the coding part, programming part, understanding of the backend systems, how they are working, API interaction, networking protocols, right? And software engineering best practices like the uses of versioning system, GitHub, and documentation part, and like writing test cases and many other things. Okay, so these things are definitely overlapping. Next thing, I will definitely talk about the differences within this data domain. So now I think you guys are clear about the data engineering. So as a data engineer, you have to be technically good. This is the first point. For the second part, the data analyst, business analyst, data scientist, right? So these are the profiles which work for the downstream system. So that's why I said data engineers work as a frontliner. They will prepare everything what downstream system needs. Okay, data scientist, business analyst, data analyst, they won't care about it, like how this raw data is coming in the form of meaningful data into the downstream system. It is the whole and sole responsibility of a data engineer. And the data scientist, they are someone who has to be good on the mathematical sides as well. They are someone who are actually analytically very good, right? They can analyze the problems, and based on their mathematical and analytical concepts, they used to build good, or they used to solve complex problems like the prediction or modeling, and you can say the recommendation engines and many other complex problems, right? So they are someone who are mathematically good, analytically very good. They understand and they analyze the data really well, and they used to work on the training and test data. Okay, so that's how the role and responsibility of a data scientist and machine learning engineers, working on the modeling side, data modeling, and writing those good fit models. So those models are nothing, basically the efficient mathematical equations which are trying to solve the complex problems. And next, the business analyst and data analyst, they are someone who closely work with the business, and or you can say the end system. So for them, definitely their soft skills at least matters a lot. Okay, uh, although they will be working on the they will be working on the this part like the big data ecosystem, but their main role and responsibility is related to the data representation. Means whatever meaningful data we have in the downstream system, they need to represent it, right, in a meaningful way. So what does it mean? Means the data visualization part, creating dashboards and all. Okay, and they, that's why they also definitely works as a bridge or as a mediator between the data platform team, like the data engineers and all, and with the end customers. So they work as a bridge in between them. So this is the like very very important and high level overview and difference between these profiles.
Yeah. Thanks, Shah. Now few of the people like Chitresh, Kailash, Joshua, so they have questions regarding what is a typical tech stack data engineers have, and what are all the tools and technology they should be well versed in order to make a career.
Okay. So if you're asking about the important things you need to focus on to become a good data engineer, so first important thing is definitely the understanding of programming and the data structures algorithm part, right? So this is important. And for the programming part, there are like couple of options for a data engineer, like Python, Scala, and Java. These are in demand, but uh, like Python is the language of data. Okay, so in most of the companies, definitely Python would be recommended. So even my personal recommendation would be to go with Python. And second thing is the understanding of the DBMS concept and SQL scripting. SQL is really important, very very important. Whenever you will appear in the interviews for data engineer, there will be 1 and 2 dedicated rounds for the SQL scripting. Okay, so do focus on it. Not just the basic part of the SQL, like understanding about the group by operations, select and nested joins, and these things. There are much more advanced topics of the SQL, let's say the window functions, views, materialized views, stored procedures, which are actually heavily used while solving these data pipeline related things. So focus on it and understanding of DBMS core concepts like the ACID properties, how NoSQL transaction, NoSQL databases work, how the transactional databases work, right? What are their important properties, and query optimization, indexing, clustering, ER diagrams, many other important concepts. Third thing would be understanding of big data frameworks. So this is big data. You can overall you can say big data terminologies and big data frameworks. Big data terminologies like what is distributed computation, storage, what are the different file formats, what are the different types of data, right? And talking about the frameworks, so we have in the data engineering thing, we have you can say two problems to solve. Uh, First would be your batch processing, second would be your real time processing. So there are a couple of frameworks which are being used for the batch processing. For an example, Apache Hadoop, and we have Apache Hive, right? So these are the things, and there are a couple of frameworks which are being used for the batch processing and as well as for the real time processing. For that we have Apache Spark, Apache Flink, right? So these are the things. And after that we have the like workflow managers, which are also very important. Let's say you have created your pipelines, then definitely uh, there will be lots of dependencies, right, of these data pipelines with each other. So to maintain that dependency and to just automate your data pipelines, you need workflow managers like Airflow, Azkaban, and many others. And then databases, yeah, I was talking about transactional databases like MySQL, Postgres, and NoSQL databases like MongoDB, Cassandra, HBase, and many others. And not last, second last, I would say the data warehousing concept. That is also very, very important. How would you design a data warehouse for a particular use case? What is fact table? What is OLTP? What is OLAP? What is dimension table? What is star schema, snowflake schema? Everything you should know about the data warehousing concept. Last but not the least, and very important, understanding of the cloud services. Nowadays we all know things have moved from the on premises to the cloud side, right? And that's why most of the big data problems are being solved on the cloud, using the cloud services. So for the understanding, you can definitely go ahead with anyone, AWS, Azure, and GCP. But based on the market cap, definitely AWS is really popular. So like you also need to focus on the services which you should use while making these scalable and optimized data pipelines. So that would be the overall roadmap for the data engineering tech stack.
Great. So I hope it clear the question that people had regarding what all the tools and skill set. And this is also tell how they can actually start. They can start with learning the programming language if they don't know yet. And Kailash, yeah, these are the data engineering tool we just talk about. Roadmap, site for learning, doing project. So yeah, Shashank, people also have some doubts regarding are there some projects that they can work on? As a fresher, people have doubts like the companies do require some experience, and most of the job posting, they see that like company wants some experience either in data engineering or any other field. Are there some project that they can work on?
So data engine is something where you cannot expect a very dedicated project. Let's say I'm talking about the backend development, front end development. You know, okay, you have an Instagram and you need to make a clone of it using React JS, Node.js, and many other things, right? Data engineering is not that straightforward. So because the most important challenge of doing hands-on project is that the volume of data, right? Let's say I'm a fresher, I cannot generate that volume of data, right? I will get the exposure of the terabyte and petabytes of data if I am working on an industrial project. So this is the important challenge here. but definitely at least using the smaller amount of data or smaller volume of data, you can try to mimic the things, right? So for an example, let's say Twitter data analysis, right? uh, for that use case, you can create a end-to-end pipeline, real-time data pipeline. So a very simple use case, let's say on Twitter, we used to see, right, every minute there are like trending hashtags which are getting changed, right? So how it is happening? So what Twitter is doing, Twitter is capturing that data real time across the globe, right? And we used to put hashtag, some keyword, and yeah, they are just analyzing those keywords, and every second which keyword was on top. So this is kind of big data related real time data processing problem. Okay. You can do a project around that one as well. On the Twitter, you can create a developer account. You will be given some access keys, right? And using your program or any cloud native solution, you can make a connection to the Twitter account and pull the data in the form of in any kind of data format, and then process it, right? Try to build a real-time data pipeline and dump that process data into the downstream system, and on that downstream system just prepare a fancy chart, right? So you can even just analyze the problems, right? Whatever is happening around you, you will definitely observe, yes, there is some sort of data processing happening, and I can just build that pipeline, right? For an example, your ticket booking system. And for an example, nowadays the COVID data, that is also one important thing. On daily basis, like you might have seen that geographical chart where you are able to see on daily basis how many active cases, how many people are recovered, deaths, these kind of things. So how it is happening on daily basis, that data is being collected, and it is just getting processed and represented in the form of charts. So just think about those problem statement and just try to build it. You won't find any straightforward problem statement over the internet that, hey, just build this pipeline.
Right. Thanks, Shashank. One other question that people have is the like two-part question. I would combine it. So one would be this: can you talk about some of the big data tools like HDFS, Hadoop, and all? So are there? It is something which is topmost priority that you have to know as a data engineer, and what is the role that cloud play in becoming a data engineer or your day-to-day job?
Yeah, so first thing, like you ask about the HDFS architecture and everything. So see, this is the building block, this is the fundamental. So that's why when I was explaining the second point, I referred this thing: big data big data terminologies and big data frameworks. So terminologies needs to be understand, and in the big data it is really important, whenever you are trying to learn a new framework, don't just learn the syntax, that how would you write this stuff using the Apache Spark. In the interviews of data engineering, and when you will be trying to build those scalable optimized data pipelines, you should definitely understand the complete architecture of framework, because these are the distributed frameworks, right? So let's say you don't know how Apache Spark processes the heavy amount of the data under the hood. Okay. And what are the different abstractions of it, what are the different methodologies Apache Spark is using to process the big data, these kind of things, then you won't be able to create the optimized data pipelines, right? Because you don't even know uh, that how Spark is working under the hood. And in the interviews, this is the most important part. Those interviewers will ask about the architecture side, they will ask about the different fundamentals of these like important big data frameworks. They won't ask you that, hey, can you just write down this statement in Apache Spark. They will judge you on your basics and fundamentals. So understanding of that one is definitely very important. And cloud, why it plays a very important role? Because it has replaced the on premises stuff, right? So 10 years back and 12 years back, 20 years back, everything like was happening over the on-premises system, right? As a company, you had to buy 100 or 200 servers, right, to manage all your things, to manage your product. And working with on-premises is definitely very, very challenging. Maintenance is very hectic, and cost part is, I mean, way too high if you are dealing with the on-premises system. And third is the security. Nowadays, security has become a very, very important aspect of any product, not the data engineering or the data privacy. It has become the important aspect of every product, right? Nobody wants to deal with this data breach and these kind of thing. And cloud is providing these things to you like by default. They are even trying to make the things secure at their own end. But let's say you are having everything on the on-premises system, then like uh, applying all the important security aspects is definitely very, very challenging, right? There may be some loopholes which can like completely damage your product, and I mean, it's really, really hard to deal with it. So these are the challenges which cloud services definitely like overcame. And that's why understanding of cloud has become really important nowadays for every single job profile, not only the big data. Even if you are a software engineer, uh, then apart from your typical frameworks, they would expect you to have some sort of understanding about the cloud services.
Right. So, Shank, Abhijit has this question, like, can somebody start with using those low-code tools for building ETLs like Electrex or any other, those automation kind of solutions for data engineering tasks? So does it make sense to learn those in the beginning itself?
I didn't get his question. Like, who's the guy?
So the last question, which is there by Abhijit.
Okay, can we start with low code tools like Alteryx for ETL? Yes, for understanding purpose, definitely. You can start with the low code tools. Okay, that you will at least get the idea how the entire flow is working. When you have the high level design on your mind that this is how the ETL pipelines are working, then slowly and gradually you can deep dive into the single component of that entire pipeline. Let's say the source part, just pick it up and try to understand how the things were coming from that end. Then pick the transformation part, like how here, let's say you are using those ETL frameworks. There was a drag and drop feature which was allowing you to pick the mapping, apply the schema and smaller filtration and everything. Then try to replicate it using the like open source frameworks, right? Or the custom frameworks, let's say Apache Spark or anything, wherever you are trying to do it. And then jump onto the downstream system, how you are trying to dump the data. And even in the downstream systems, how you are building that entire data warehouse, how are the things connected with each other. So that's how you can start. For the beginning, definitely start with it, and then gradually deep dive into the single component.
Right. So further into this, can you also reinforce the same thing that we talked about, the importance of DSA or all other concepts for a data engineer interview or on your job?
Mhm.
Is it required?
Yeah, so understanding of DSA and programming part, I again important, because I was talking about the transformation and applying the business logic part, right? So and that's why the data engineers are different, because being a data engineer, you need to work on the uh, like writing custom solutions, right? You will not be having a freedom to use typical or inbuilt frameworks where you have a very fancy UI. You can make account, just log in. You have a drag and drop feature. Just click on MySQL, it will make a connection for MySQL, and pick the columns from the drag and drop button, and then make a connection from downstream. So for you, it is not going to be that simple. And you need to write those custom applications, custom distributed computation application, and you need to write those business logic there itself. And when you write those logics, then definitely those programming and DSA concepts will be used, because you need to code it, and code in any language like say Python, Scala, and Java. So whenever you are working with the any sort of language, knowing about its typical data structures, knowing about the conditionals, operations, and looping structure, iterations, how to create functions, and let's say you are working on some optimization part, okay, code optimization, that then what else you can use, I mean a better algorithm or better data structure, which can basically provide the good latency. Okay, so that's how this understanding of DSN programming becomes important, and it is really important for the data engineering domain.
Yeah, thanks, Shashank. Now couple of questions are also related to people who are currently sort of working in, this data space. So if somebody is working, yeah, as a ETL developer or ETL tester, or let's say a DBA, so does the career switch into the data engineering is make sense for them?
Yes. See, that's what I said. I mean, if you are having experience between 1 to 5, then it is not going to be really challenging for you. If you are having just more than 6 or 8 or 10 years of experience, it will be difficult and challenging. Again, I won't say that it is impossible. It is possible. But for everyone who is between this experience range 1 and 5, so see, the important thing is having the right skill set, and do not even think that whatever you have done in your past, let's say you are from a testing background, or you are from a let's say any other profile, software engineering profile, don't think that those previous skill set like won't provide any sort of benefit. They will definitely add some value, because let's say being a testing profile, being into the testing profile, you might have used some automation tools, you might have used some scripting part or the programming part to automate the things. At least those programming understanding, those important concepts, or when you will be working on a testing side, you might have interacting with the systems as well, right? The API testing, let's say understanding the system, how API was written, how that was calling, how the payload is coming, and everything, you definitely would have understand it. So those logics and those things will definitely be used within this data engineering profile. Apart from that, you just need to add those relevant skill sets in your profile, and after that you are good to go take for this move into the data engineering.
Great. Thanks. I hope this answered the question, Sujan and Piyush. Great. Moving further, can we change the slide to the next one? So, Sushant, can you also talk about apart from this skill sets, the technical skills that we have, what do they also require? No, some of the this is a teamwork. They need to work in a large team. So, what are all the business skills also that they need to have?
In terms of the business skills, the first and very important is the interaction part, right? So that interaction becomes very, very important, first of all, uh, because don't think that being a data engineer, you will be working on the technical side as well. And that is, I'm not saying that this is the only important part for the data engineering, but this is the important part. This is the important part for each and everyone who want to grow in the IT industry, right? Having a right balance of technical skills and soft skills can add more and more value in your visibility, and it can just make you a very useful resource for a particular organization, because they know this guy is technically really good and he or she can interact well with the client, customer, and with anybody. Okay, so that's why it becomes very, very important, the communication part, that you are continuously in touch with your end customer and you are trying your best to understand the business requirement really well. Okay, this is the one important part. Second important part is basically you can say proper communication with the leadership as well. Okay, it's not like that you are the only one who it's not like that you only need to communicate with the customers. You also need to communicate really well with the leadership as well. Okay, that where you are actually being used, how much bandwidth you are spending, and after that you can say you need to make your own visibility, and this is the thing which you actually need to learn. Else what will happen, for the next 5 years you will be sitting at the corner and you are just doing the technical stuff, coding stuff and all, and nobody knows you, like who is Shashank, because you haven't made your visibility. So you need to work in a balanced way, make your own visibility. Some of the principle or important leadership principle we used to follow in the Amazon. So I'm not sure how many of you have given the interviews for Amazon, but in near future, let's say if you appear in a Amazon interview, they follow 14 important leadership principles. And obviously I don't know all the 14, but I know a couple of them. So first and very important thing is the customer obsession. Customer obsession means you are dedicatedly working for customer, and that customer can be anything, your even internal teams, because you are whatever you are trying to build, you are trying to build for them, you are trying to deliver it to them. So customer obsession, ownership, very very important. Whatever you are building, take the full ownership of it. Don't just depend on others, that okay, unless the business analyst or data analyst or the program manager won't tell the clear requirement, I'll be sitting ideal and wait for their call, right? No, just keep on taking the follow up, because you are owning that thing, you are owning that pipeline, you are the resource who is going to build that pipeline. So ownership, earn trust, right? And then think big, right? Just try to think out of the box. Do not just try to follow the like old school things every time. Let's say you are working on a pipeline, try to make it in a much more efficient way. Okay, there will be always a scope of optimization, so take some time, do some brainstorming and come up with a good design, right? So these are some important things, business skills, that's what I said. Understanding the client requirement and understanding your customers really well, the communication part, communication with leadership, right? And apart from that, important things would be like uh, proper documentation things, right? People used to avoid it. So these things like also matters a lot. So apart from the tech, we need to work on this side as well.
Great. So thanks, Shashank, for answering all these questions. Apart from it, people also have questions regarding how like they can learn what is the good path, and what are the all the courses and all which are available. So to answer those people, see, there's a certain lack of very good data engineering course that you can find. There are information, most of the information are bit scattered around, and it can become really hard to learn these skills or work on these tools without proper guidance. So to tackle that demand, and also as we were working with these professionals like Shashank into data engineering, data science domain for quite some time, we have actually launched a boot camp from our side, which is like currently this would be the second batch of that. First batch of that particular boot camp is currently running. So just to give the idea of that program that we have for data engineering. So the program is a 16-week complete online boot camp where you will get to work on different data engineering related projects or in the guidance of professionals from the industry. People who are from Amazon, Teradata, Kimberly-Clark will be teaching you all these different topics. You will get hands-on experience on building big data solutions, distributed pipelines, and work on cloud platform to realize your solutions. On top of that, we also provide placement assistance from our side that because with the technical skill, you will also get in, the placement support, the professional skill development, all the communication and all those aspects will also be trained and get to interact with these professionals one-on-one as your mentor so that you can shape your career into the right direction. Uh, to the people who are asking for the roadmap, we can show the next slide, so this is the sort of flow that we are following, and we have created this with a lot of consultation from experienced professionals like Shashank here. So he's also one of our mentors in this program, and currently the batch who are studying, he's taking classes there also. So typically how the road map look like for a data engineer is that you start with the programming concepts and clear those fundamentals. Then you move more on to the SQL, MySQL, those databases part, or both the relational or transactional databases and no relational databases. Then the core part of this whole ecosystem is the big data technologies, consisting of Hadoop, Spark, and Hive. And then once you are done with those very fundamental building blocks of the big data ecosystem or big data engineers skill set, you move on to the cloud platform. We are currently having some courses or the modules on the Azure cloud platform, as that is some which highest growing cloud platform currently. And as this is course for somebody to make them future ready, so we focus on the Azure services for cloud solutions and so on. So this is the typical format looks like if you want to, learn the data engineering from the scratch. Shashank, you can also say a few words on that.
Yep, guys. So that's the, I mean, you guys were asking for the dedicated resource and dedicated courses. Trust me, as I said, I mean, in the beginning, I just explored these things from the YouTube and from the different articles and blogs. So for me, like, it took a lot of time, at least 3-4 months, to figure out the actual roadmap and to actual, you can say, actual roadmap and what all things I need to learn, because things were not collective together. I didn't find even a single resource where everything is mentioned clearly that, hey, for a data engineer, you need to study this, you need to study that. This is the perfect answer for it. There was nothing like that. And not even today, right? Things are really, really scattered. And why scattered? Because people are really confused about the roles and responsibilities, right? They think that data engineers are working like a data scientist who is trying to create a like a AI ML sort of stuff. So it is not like that. For every single profile there is a specific role and responsibilities, and you need to work around that. First you need to get expertise on that, then as a learning curve you can definitely explore other parts as well. So that's why we started this boot camp, and the entire focus of this boot camp was to give you clear cut idea, or to give you clear cut understanding about each and every important tech tool framework which can help you to become a good data engineer. And we are not just focusing on the theoretical stuff or these things. We are trying our best to deliver the best result using some real world use cases, using some real world problems. So I hope it will definitely help you. So if looks interesting to you, feel free to join the boot camp. And but I can, yeah, definitely guarantee you that it will definitely change your path.
Okay. So yeah, we have reached the time limit. So yeah, any other folks who would be who's interested in the program, they can. We will be dropping the link in the chat. Which they can just go to that link to register on the program. Our current cohort is already in the running, and the different thing about these programs is that like they are cohort based courses, so it's not like you are just a consumer to the content, and this is very interactive sessions and all things are there. people also work on the projects in a collaborative manner. You are not on your own. Your peers, the students with you are also there to help you out into those manner. So thanks a lot, folks, for joining for today's session. I hope it was really helpful for you. Please fill the feedback form which is in front of you, and yeah, I hope that like some of you will this session will help some of you to get started into their career, or take their current career to the new heights. And thanks, Shashank, again for this lovely session.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me again.
Okay. So yeah, we will closing down the session in 5 minutes. So I will be here. If somebody have some questions, they can directly just unmute themselves and ask. So yeah, again, thanks a lot, folks, for joining.
Hello,
Yeah, hi.
am I audible?
Yeah, you are audible.
Yeah, okay. Sasank, to you, am I audible?
Yeah, I can hear
It
you.
looks I'm not. Okay, Sasank. Thank you. So, I am working in a company, ETL developer currently, and yeah, I do this data structure and algorithm coding on HackerEarth. I need some roadmap, like from HackerEarth, which side should I move for data structure and algorithm? Like while learning DS and Algo, I can learn these technologies alone, or after practicing DS and Algo for some questions, I need to go for the skills.
So see, for the experienced people in the interviews, you need to maintain a right balance between your technical skills, technical understanding, and apart from that, the DSA and programming part. Don't think like that. First, you need to cover the entire DSA programming stuff. First, you need to get a solid expertise on that part. Then you will move on to preparation for the tech stack, tech skills. You can manage your time in a well manner. Like on daily basis, what you can do, you are or let's say you are working on this part. You can say the preparation for the tech stack and deep diving into your tech stack, and on daily basis make a habit of solving at least 4 or 5 good problems for the DSN programming. So that's how you will be able to maintain a good balance. Else, right, at the end what will happen, you won't be able to cover the things right at the right time. Let's say you started with the DSA and the problem solving and the programming part. It took a month or let's say 2 months for you to complete the whole thing. And for the next 1 month, let's say you will spend it for the like technical side, understanding about the tech stack frameworks, deep dive into it. Then you might forget the concepts of DSN programming, which you prepared 1.5 months back. So just make things in a parallel way. Okay, just to better manage your time. And for the DSA part, I would say you can use the lead code, which is the very important, I mean, and I would say very effective one. Their problems are categorized properly with the easy, with the medium, with the hard level tags. So you can just filter out, you can even filter out the coding problems based on the companies, and it will help you. So just proceed in that way. Do not directly jump on to the hard problems or randomly solving any problem. Make a proper sequence. First try to solve the easy problems, then jump on to medium, then jump onto the hard level. But maintain on daily basis, maintain a good balance between these two, solving like at least 4 or 5 problems, and giving time to the tech stack part as well.
All right. So yeah, we are already 5 minutes of the time. So thanks, Sean, for the session.
All right.
I
Yeah,
think we
thank
can
you
end
guys.
it here.
Thank you so much.
Thanks. Bye bye.
Hey Digvijay, I'm audible.
Yeah, yeah. You
Yeah.
are
So, from like, do we get like, will we get the link to join this or what?
yeah.
Like, we can
Just
actually search it.
right, right. Yeah, you can go to the website. I'm just sharing the link on the chat also. Just a second. So if you go to the enroll.com also, it's available. I can actually give you a direct link. So I have dropped in the chat. You can
Yeah.
check out
Thanks.
course detail on those.
So the batches are already started.
Our previous batch started actually last month. So next month also, in mid of August, we will be having next cohort. So as this is the live program, so that means like each month we have different cohorts of people. So we select like 25-30 people onto which we run the program.
Okay. 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 That helps.